and welcome to the Knowing Show. I am your host, Christine Marie, and y'all, I'm looking forward to our conversation today. We're talking about how to make moments, how to create moments that matter in our lives, and it really is that encouragement to pick our heads up and live awake rather than having our heads kind of down and looking at our phones and living on autopilot, but really living with intention. And I am thrilled to be joined here today by Chris Dyer, one and only #1 leadership speaker awarded by Inc., a former CEO who just worked with dozens and dozens of cultures. I think it was 15 times you were recognized as the best place to work for the companies that you served. You've had over 300 keynotes in 20 plus countries. This is now your fourth book, and just really grateful you're here, Chris. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I am too. I'm so excited, especially in these conversations where I'm just getting to know you along with our audience. And I'd love to hear, Chris, your upcoming book, your fourth and is it final book coming out, or do you think you've got a lot more books than you?
I mean, never say never. I said I would never write another book after the first one, and here I am on number 4. So I will make no promises because I will only break them, I think.
I love it. Well, then no promises, but your fourth book, can you talk a little bit about that? It is the fourth book, Moments That Matter, hence today's conversation.
So I was trying to say something on stage for years, and I didn't know what it was that there was something I wasn't quite articulating. And I figured it out finally. And it is this North Star of, here I am working with companies and I'm telling them to have a better culture, to create a place that's, great for your employees, somewhere that you really want to work. And that didn't seem to be a big enough goal. And what I realized was that what I really want them to do is create the best place that their employees will ever work. That when they think back on their time in that company, they will say that was the best of times. That is a very different goal than like, hey, stop being a crappy leader, or, don't have so many meetings. Like, there's a different lens that we look at by saying, what if this is the best place ever that they're going to work? How do I create that? How do I do that? And so that then set me on a journey of, well, like, the stuff that I'm talking about now isn't the right thing to be talking about. It is the right thing in certain contexts, right? We want to get tactical, we want to do leadership development and all that. But I want to shift from inspiring them to be better leaders to motivating them to do better in their life overall. Because one of the things that I really discovered was that the better a culture is, the better communities are. Like, if you love your job, if you love where you work, like, you're actually a better parent and a better, spouse, a better spouse, you're a better friend, you're a better community member. Like, you'll volunteer more. Like, but if you hate your job, like, your life, the rest of your life is disproportionately impacted. And so that led me to moments. And by asking my former employees and talking to people that had worked in the organization, I realized what they remembered most. The people who said, I would be, Chris, like, if you could start that company again, I would volunteer. I would take little to no money. Like, I would want to work in that kind of company again. And I was like, cool, but why? And what we figured out was we showed up in certain moments in really big ways. We got the big moments right. We did not get all the little moments right. We screwed up all the time, but we got the big moments right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what they remembered. That was what they thought about when they thought about the best of times. And they would give me examples of things that we did and things that the organization thought about. And that was like, there are moments that matter. And you got to show up. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's not just moments that matter at work. Like, there's moments in your marriage, there's moments in your friendships, there's moments in everything you do that really matter. And that got me really excited. And I ran off and wrote the book.
And you wrote it in 30 days.
I wrote it in 30 days. I don't know how, but I did it. Yeah.
I'm so proud of you, Chris. My book is it's in the final stage of being copy edited. It's been 3 years. So.
Wow. You've been copy editing for 3 years?
No, not copy editing for 3 years. I've written, now granted, I've probably written 5 different books within that span of time.
Right.
But,
okay.
But I just am inspired by 30 days. I love that. Um, so good. Okay, so the moments that matter, and one of the things that I think is really important for each one of us to just take a moment to pull out and tell me if I'm right here from what I surmise hearing you say. It's like when you're a parent and you're like, man, I royally don't want to screw up my kid, and I'm totally impatient sometimes. I totally get angry. I totally yell. And what are the moments that I'm ruining them versus, like, what are the moments really that impact them versus, oh, it's kind of okay. Like, that's all right that you yelled that one time, because in the
Mhm.
big scheme of things, that's not going to be something that they remember. And so I'd love to hear, if we were to really recognize these are the big moments, kind of like the capital M moments versus the little M moments. These
Mhm.
are the ones that we
Well,
as
I'm
parents.
stealing that. Thank you. I'm stealing that.
Good. It's I love it because it's true. It's like, how do we, if everything's important, then nothing's important. But there surely are important moments. And
Mhm.
so I'd love to hear from you. I think you said that there are 7 moments.
Yeah, there are 7. So there's inception moments, first days, first impressions.
Yeah.
There's transition moments. That's when you're going from one thing to the next, right? So
Mhm.
let's put this in the context of like just being a parent, right? Like the first day of kindergarten or the first day of high school, or the first day of like there are times in that kid's life when they're going to do something for the first time. And are we helping them? Are we setting them up for success? Are we making a big deal about it? The first time they got an A on the report card, like whatever. Like that's when we can show up for them and really celebrate and help them. Maybe when they're transitioning, like from junior high to high school, are we preparing them for that? Are we being there for them and understanding that they're going through something? There's decision moments. This is where mistakes happen. This is where errors happen. This is where we, get off track. But are we helping
Mm.
are we helping our kids in when they're making those decisions?
Right.
Do I play soccer? Do I play basketball? Do I, join the speech and debate team, or do I join drama? Like, are we thinking about their life and our support of them in their frustrations because they're having a hard time making the right decision or worrying about making the right decision, right? You show up in that moment, that's different than like, hey honey, how was your day? And they're like, fine, and you're like, oh well, what am I supposed to do? No, it's what are are you having any big decisions you have to make that's coming up? Like that's a
Mhm.
much better question,
Mhm.
you know? There's recognition moments. So again, they got the A on the report card. Are you recognizing? I remember like if I got a good report card, my parents took me to Farrell's. And I don't know if you know what Farrell's is, but it was an ice
No.
Farrell's is like this ice cream shop. They went out of business and they came back in. They went out of business again, but like all they served was ice cream. And you could go there and get a giant thing of like 50 scoops of ice cream, like every kind of ice cream they had. And they would come out and ring a bell and sing a song. And like kids would be in there because they got a great report card or they scored a goal or whatever. And you could never finish that much ice cream.
Wow.
But I remember if I got a good report card, which wasn't always because I was more like the like, just give me the B minus, I'm fine.
Yeah,
Kind of
yeah, yeah. The
wasn't
ice
a
cream wasn't motivation enough for a whole quarter.
every once in a while I'll be like, you know what, I could, maybe work a little harder and you know, and they would make a big deal about that. And
Yeah.
so that was huge for me. There's connection moments. That's when two people are sharing something that feels hard, that feels true, that feels hard. Maybe you're going through an illness. Maybe you're going through someone passed away. Like, it's that there's something connecting the two of you that's hard to do. Um, then there's like truth moments. We need to have a hard conversation here. Like you're hanging out with the wrong people. Like again, if you're using the kid as an example, like what is this? How do we have a truth? We're having a. I need to talk to you and give you a truth. I need to share something with you. I need to help you understand. Maybe it's how you tell your kids that you're going to get divorced from your spouse. Like there's these like how you handle that moment, right? The kids are
Mhm.
going to remember. And then the last one is what I call culmination moments.
Mm.
Um, and that's where something ends, but it creates a new beginning. So maybe that child is no longer going to be at that school anymore, right? That's a culmination moment. Maybe they're not going to be on that sports team anymore, but that's because something new and better is going to happen. And so how do we show up for them? So those are the 7 moments. You can put that into work. You can put that into your relationships. You can put it anywhere. But
Yeah.
those are the big moments when you have to be like, what's happening?
Right.
What am I supposed to do with this? And then show up the best way you possibly can.
Mm. So good. And for those of you joining, I think this is a really good moment to just do a quick recap for what it is that you're talking about. And I'd even love to hear more from you on like why does this really, really matter? So we're examining the 7 key moments according to Chris Dyer in his upcoming book, set to release next month. 7 moments that really are pivotal in business, as parents, in our own lives, all of which that deserve a moment to pause and really pay special intention and attention. Like I actually like saying attention and intention, because if we're not paying close attention for the purpose of intention, how am I going to respond here? It is a capital M moment rather than just kind of like a regular moment throughout the day where it's not just he mentions one of them is decision. It's not a decision of what do you want for breakfast. It's, hey, are you going to be on this sports team or not? You know, I was actually just talking with a friend and his 8-year-old. They're gonna sit with him about whether he's gonna play kind of more of a challenge. What's it called? Like versus kind of like pickup soccer versus really being on a club team.
Right.
And they're going to let him make that choice. But that's a decision moment, capital M, because that could be, I remember when I quit piano. I wish I didn't. And so the quality of that capital M decision moment around this soccer could very well impact his high school, maybe college, maybe farther out in life. Who knows? He's 8 years old. And so that's an example of why this is important, because it really does impact not just the future, but also the quality of our relationships and the quality of our leadership. Why else, Chris, does this matter?
Well, for that other person, we are helping them navigate that whatever's going on with them, navigating that moment. And for a parent and a child, that's our opportunity to show up and guide them and teach them and to show them how we want them to act and to grow up as an adult. Maybe it's an employee, maybe it's your boss, maybe like that's that time. So what I found really fascinating in my research is that we only remember about 1% of all of our experiences. 1% has an actual imprint on us. We don't remember the other 99% of things that happened. And that's why we can get away with, not having the best parenting skills or the best friendship skills all the time, and we can drop the ball. But that 1% that we're going to remember, if we can show up the right way in these moments, we're imprinting those memories and those applications and those experiences with that other person in a way that they're going to remember in a meaningful way, right? The other part of this is that you have to see it to know what's happening and figure out which moment you're in, and then you have to go and shape it. So now I know I'm in a culmination moment, I'm in an inception moment. Okay, what am I supposed to do in that particular moment to be my best self? But the third thing is, how do you scale that moment? And a good example of this is let's say you and I were on the same, let's say I was your boss, okay, and we're on a team, and you have someone in your family going through something really terrible. Maybe they're like dying of cancer, something really bad. And I'm showing up for you. I'm making sure that we're not giving you huge projects. We're not overloading you, because I know you have something really big going on in your personal life, right? I'm stepping up as your boss to really help you during this tough time. Still got to do your work, but like you need to take a couple days off or whatever. Like we're trying to figure it out with you because we know you're struggling. That's great. And I'm being a good boss. But if you and I are the only people that know that happened, I'm missing an opportunity for the
Right.
rest of the team to know that I'm going to be there for them too, if
Mhm.
something ever happens. Hopefully nothing ever does. But that's information that they will lock away when someone's coming to recruit them, someone's trying to get them to leave your company, right? When they're thinking, do they want more money or whatever? Do I want to change teams and go over here to this part? Like, this boss, I watched what he did with her. He was there for her. He'll be there for me too.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why these little moments, big moments, as you said, the big capital M's, that's why they matter.
Yeah, so good. And I want to dive into a few of these because I'm wondering now, granted, there's not okay, so inception, first day of work, transition, moving between jobs. Is that fair in
Yeah.
that example? Decision, recognition. I love that example of like you always would go to this ice cream parlor. So fun. Whenever you got a good report card, connection. So like you're going through something hard together, maybe a death. Truth, we need to have a hard conversation. And then accumulation, it's the end of something, even though something else that's good is coming, it's still a moment to process. Of those seven, which is there a hierarchy in these seven, or are they all kind of like, look, they're all just big M moments? There's no
Yeah.
hierarchy.
They're all big. They're all
So
big. You just got to figure out which one you're in.
so let's move forward because you've got the book is broken up into three parts. Number one is see the moment. Is that identifying that first part? Is that identifying which of these seven you're in?
Yeah. So what happens is our body will generally trigger us.
Mm,
We might get sweaty palms or tight chest. Maybe our heart starts racing, and we say, "Oh, I'm just stressed out."
mm,
No, you're not stressed out, not yet. That's
wow.
actually a signal from your body that you might need to go, "Wait a minute. Why am I reacting physically this way?" So you may have just given me some bad news, told me there's something going on, right? Oh, hey, our friend Tom, we just found out he has cancer or whatever. And I'm just like, oh, so it's terrible for Tom. And I'm feeling stressed. And I need to stop and go, wait a minute. Which moment am I in? This is my body's telling me there's something going on here. I need to take a breath. I need to clear my mind. I need to really think about, why am I feeling this way? What's going on? This is maybe, maybe for me and you and our friend Tom, this is going to be that connection moment,
Yeah.
right? That he's going through something big. You and I know we're going to need to create a meal train list. We're going to figure out how to help him. And we're going to like, how do we show up for him?
Mm,
Right. So that seeing it is so important, because I find that we skip it.
mm.
You just go, oh, I'm stressed. I'm overwhelmed. I just need to go rest. I need to, sleep in this weekend. I need a glass of wine. I need, to go binge on Netflix. Like, I want to do something to distract myself from the fact that I probably need to stop and think about what to do next.
I'm I really, really appreciate this. And I was actually someone just asked this question here in the chat, what are we talking about? And someone earlier was like, well, why does this matter? And it's so important. It's so important because our bodies, Chris, and glad you brought up the point about our bodies signaling to us when we feel the tightening of the throat or we feel discomfort in the chest. It's our body signaling one of these moments is here. And these seven moments: inception, transition, decision, recognition, connection, truth, accumulation. Seven moments. And this is all coming out in Chris's upcoming book, coming out next month. Y'all, this is such a good framework. I've never heard of this before. I'm so, so excited about this, Chris. I think that this is life changing in the way people are going to parent and the way people are going to lead, because now it helps you to prioritize, especially as a parent, this is when I should be involved, especially when the kids are like, no, I got it. And you're like, actually, this is a pivotal life moment for you. Let me stay involved. And when you yourself know your body well enough, we then can test and see, oh, okay, I actually need to pause and slow down because I'm feeling my body get triggered. Which of these seven is happening for me? And it could be a moment of truth. Yesterday on the Knowing Show, I was talking with a friend where my throat actually closes a little bit when I need to speak the truth or when I feel like the truth is coming under attack. And that's like that's my physical body, like letting me know that's my warning sign. There's a truth moment here. I might have to have a hard conversation.
Yeah.
And so it's like the response in that moment, when we sense it, slow down to then see the moment, to your point.
Yeah. So when we realize that we could be having a moment, then we have to do what's called the third space, which is taking that time to figure out what moment am I in, how do I need to show up, and what does that person need from me? Like how do they need me to show up? And what I would bet you a lot of money that if you did that, your throat probably wouldn't hurt. It probably wouldn't tighten up because you would feel far more prepared of like, okay, I know I need to show up and be brave. I know I need to show up and this person needs to hear this. You know what I mean? Like, and I know I'm doing them a service by speaking this truth to them, by telling them, hey, Bob, your breath stinks. Like, just so you know, like, or whatever that truth is that you need to show up and tell them. Right.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and you'll feel better about it, as opposed to like, oh, I feel stressed and oh, I need to tell this person something. And then like, I'm just going to do it and get it over with and then run away.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work.
Mm. So good. Okay, so the next one, see the moment. Next is shape the moment.
Right.
Can you talk about that one?
Yeah. And that was what the third space that we just did. So that's shaping the moment. Right. So what do I need to do? Who do I need to be?
Okay.
Which
Yeah.
moment is it? That's shape. And then so the next thing is that scaling the moment, which we talked about a little bit earlier with like, how do I make sure I've done a great job? I've been brave. I've done the thing, but
Yeah.
how does anybody else in my life know about what I did? And
Mm,
I have taken the stab here that you, not to be self-serving, not to be, look at me, I'm so great, but for the benefit of others to
yeah.
know that you will show up for them, that you will do these things for them, that you are a good person, you are a person who speaks truth, you are a person who shows up when people need you, like whatever those things are, like you can't keep it to yourself.
Mm,
It needs to be celebrated or breathed or talked about or propagandized or whatever the right thing is in that moment.
mm.
You can't just like leave it, in a dark place under the chair.
Well, and that's a little bit akin to what you're saying, where with a boss, if he treats his employee in a certain way, the more that you're actually able to your point, scale it, and actually rise it to the company level so that everyone can know what to expect from the boss when it comes time where they're getting poached. If we're, and I was actually speaking one of our clients. So we actually, on the knowing agency side, we do a lot with marketing and branding for personal brands. So really putting forward, this is the leader, this is their framework, this is, their website and their social media, and really, really helping them amplify themselves. I was having a conversation with one of the CEOs recently, and he was talking about this moment when he realized he needed to stop leading from the back. He needed to lead from the front. And
Mhm.
in leading from the front, the entire company settled because it was during COVID, and people were just, there was so much uncertainty and they didn't know what was going to happen. And it's not like he knows what's going to happen, but that's not a moment to lead with humility from the sidelines or from the back of the room. That's when you step into the limelight and you bring the peace, and you lead from the front of the room. And so that process of scaling allows for the culture, which is one of your expertise, allows for the culture to be impacted by that person. And so it's almost like we need to shine the light with intention on those moments to shape the culture of our homes, to shape the culture of our businesses.
Exactly. And you bring up a great example. I mean, COVID, it was a perfect time
Mm,
as an example because a lot of great leaders will speak last, will let other people, take responsibility and work on things and not be that micromanager. I'm the first one to talk. You can be a really great leader by stepping back and letting your people
mm,
who are amazing do what they're going to do. But when the what hits the fan, like you need to step up on your, put on your knight in shining armor gear and get on your horse and be like, listen, I don't know what the answer is, but I'm here and this is what we're doing about it. This is how we're going to attack this. And you've got to be loud and proud about your leadership when those big things happen. So hopefully we're not going to have another pandemic again in our lifetime. So like, well, what else do we mean? Like we had examples where I had employees in Texas back when we had that big winter. They had a big winter storm, and like, they had a huge power outage, right? And so, like, what do you do? As a leader, what do you do? Do you send them a text like, "Oh, hey, hope you don't freeze to death?" Like, do you get them you can't really, like, get them a hotel or a Airbnb, like, if the power is out, the power is out. So what we figured out and then they couldn't get generators because everyone had gone and bought generators. And so we went and bought generators and paid some college kid to drive a U-Haul from here, from where I'm in California, all the way to Texas and go and deliver them all to all of our different employees. So they had a generator so they could turn it on. And then we stepped up and said, got your generator, and I think we sent them like some like gas cards and stuff so they could buy fuel for the generators and all that. And then we told them like, you don't have to work. So we're not sending you this generator so that you can work for us. We're sending you this generator so you and your family don't freeze to death. Please go and take this time off while the power is out and go help your community. Think about that, how that employee feels, and then how all the other employees felt about what we did for them.
Right.
And when someone comes knocking on their door and says, "Hey, I'll give you an extra dollar an hour, come work for me," they'll be like, "Yeah, right."
Yeah. I'm so loyal, so bought in, you know? My gosh. And that's the goal. I think that so much of that actually is the goal, is that we really, man, we're really building a culture. You started out, for those who weren't here earlier, not just having a good community, a good culture, but you want the businesses that you consult with to be able to say with pride, that was, my employees say that was the best culture, that was the best company they've ever worked with. That's a high bar, Chris. And so I'm wondering, what kind of resistance are you met with? Because for people who are just out to make a dollar, it forces you, that no longer can be the ultimate goal. Like, you kind of have to choice. That's a demarcating statement. Is this going to be a great company? It's kind of like, I'm reading Jim Collins from Good to Great right now. And, in order to get to be a great company, so often the revenue does reflect that, but it's so much of it is the culture. And so I'm curious what kind of resistance you're met with from the CEOs.
Well, here's the good news is
Mm.
that every company can actually achieve the goal. We're right in the middle of the Olympics right now where there's one winner, there's one gold medalist. That is not the case when it comes to how your people think about your culture and your company. Every company could technically be the best place that their employees will ever work. That's what's cool. Like, we all can create amazing cultures. We can all create a company where people want to work. This is not like there's a hierarchy and there can only be the top, 10, and then you're going to be working in, 5,622. That's not how this works. It is a completely flat experience. And so I've been finding that when I'm challenging people to do this, they want to do it, right? They like that framing. Now, to be fair, when people bring me in and they hire a speaker, there tend to be companies that are already thinking about this, that want this, they want to be better, right? No horrible company who would get an F on their report card for company culture is going to hire me to come in and help them, because they don't care about that, right? So I understand there's a group of people that don't care, but most do. And the other thing that's really exciting is maybe you're a middle manager. Maybe you're like, just have a team and you're like, I can't control the overall culture. The good news is you can make that team experience the best it's ever going to be for anybody. Like, you can still impact your employees' experience. And because they generally are just working with the small team, the company is going to impact them. But like, if you're on a team of 10 people, that's actually your culture. That's actually your experience at the company, is those 10 people that you work with every day.
Chris, I know that we're kind of at time here. I'd love, first, anyone here in the chat, I would love to hear any questions you've got for Chris. But Chris, I know that there's been some interest around for you personally. What was your transition like, moving into being an author and kind of even acknowledging, all right, I've got something to say.
I I'm have all these little accidents in my life when I look back at them. And when I say accidents, I mean, like, I didn't ever say, I'm going to write a book or I'm going to be a keynote speaker. Like, I just was doing things that made me happy, that made, I was working on creating this great company and having the best culture we could possibly have. And because I was doing that, then someone asked me to just have my own podcast. And I was like, all right, I'll do that. That sounds like fun. Total accident, right? I was on someone else's show. The producer at the local station was like, hey, do you want to come in and do a show? And I'm like, okay. And then because I was doing that, then one day a publisher sent me a note on LinkedIn and was like, hey, do you want to write a book? And I'm like, okay. Like, so I think it's just about like being open to opportunities and being open to different things you hadn't thought
Right.
about doing. But you need to I think that all came from my desire to have excellence in a particular area of my life.
Mm, mhm.
So no one will want, if you're like, hey, I want to write a book and I'm gonna write about my life. Guess what? No one cares. Nobody cares about your one little experience. But if you are really, really passionate about something and you want to write a book about that because you have such a high passion about that thing, and then your experiences in your life align to and help teach the lesson about why that thing that you're so passionate about matters, and there's a group of people in the world that care about your passion too, then it connects,
Mhm.
right? Then it matters. Then it
Right.
matters. Because I've had people like, oh, I'd love to write a book. I've had an interesting life. And I'm like, but what's the point? Like, if you're just
Yes.
woe is me or whatever, like that. But if you really love woodworking and like woodworking is your favorite thing ever, and you have a huge passion for it, and you write a book about woodwork, well, then that makes sense because
Yes.
you've done it and thought about it and you're passionate about it.
Yeah. So good. And I would even say, when we're being open, to your point, Chris, I think I love that you said that. That was a capital N moment, a big M moment that came to you. And so if we're not, again, being open and looking for those big M moments, that could have been, accumulation moment, that could have been a connection, truth, there's so many moments, but ultimately decision. You had to make a decision in that moment. And y'all, if we're open, I think that that's the key, perhaps even for us to be able to see the moments that are before us in the first place. Are we keeping our head down on our phones, or are we even looking up and around us to be open in the first place for what could be coming our way?
Yeah, absolutely.
So good. Chris, thank you so much for joining us today. This was a wonderful conversation, and I just love your theory. I'm excited for your book. What's the release date?
March 24th, it'll be available wherever people find their stuff online. And if anybody wants a little little free resource on how to make your meetings and things like that better, you can text 33777 and then just put my name, Chris, as the message, and it'll automatically send it to you.
Wonderful. Well, Byron says that he loves reading. And so, Byron, I'm going to be buying that book along with you. So, y'all, thank you so much for joining us today. Chris, thank you. Thank you for your time. I'm grateful for you. And it was wonderful to meet you.
Great to meet you too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Y'all, we will be going live tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern for trivia. So, we're going to be hanging out tonight and just having a good time. But in the meantime, have a wonderful rest of your day. And I will talk to all of y'all